Before we start, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish people, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam people, on which SFU Burnaby is located. And I'm thankful to those who have cared for the land for thousands of years and continue to today. Feel free to make your own land acknowledgement in the chat box if you feel need to. And then here is our full team, our field school team under ISS. So my name is Jin, and I'm the Study Abroad Officer working with you. And then we have our dear colleague, Colin, here. Colin.
Yes, I chose a poor time to turn off my camera first there. My name's Colin. I'm probably the one you'll have the most direct contact with here. If you have any questions at any point about the application process, logistics, sort of anything field schools, you can feel free to poke me. We'll have all of our contact information posted as well. And not with us tonight is Megan Kuby. She's our Associate Director of International Mobility Programs, and she kind of oversees everything.
That's a good representation. Yes, that means that you have the full support from our team and then to achieve your goal and your dream. So let's take a very quick overview of field school. And what is a field school to you? If you're ready, and please type in your understanding or your expectation of what a field school is. And then I'm also taking some notes here and learning a lot more from you. So what is a field school to you? Field school is an immersive experience. That is a good word to choose. Yeah, to a future career path. Thank you, Alexandra, especially for NATO, right? Yeah, that totally makes sense. For field school, is it a just a traveling program, or is it an academic program? And how long it could be? How many people? Cultural experience? Yeah, that's exactly part of that, because you will be in a new place and learning a lot more, not just from the projects that you'll be working on. Any other thoughts? Anything that came into your mind? Real life work experience, exactly. When you're working in the field out there, working with people or children, and this is the real life situation problems that you are solving, the projects you're working on. Hands-on experience, there you go. That is exactly right. Love all the answers. Yeah. Introductory avenue to learning about a given industry. Yeah, so that is another perspective is your career, professional network that you are building. I really like your answer in the groups here, and then you come up with the really good answer. So I would just put it out there quickly. And see, it is a combination of coursework because it is an academic program and gives you assignments to do and during field trips, leading and going in the destinations that you need to go to and have these experience. And for example, like the units, if you're thinking of, I need that units, right? And then these field school programs will provide you either from a 6 to 13 units for a full-time program or 3 to 8 units for a part-time field school program. And also it's a group of you traveling together. It is not your individual travel and do the research. Is a different way of study abroad too. And also the program can last from 2 weeks or a week and a little bit more and then to up to 2 months. So that is, a very different design depending on the designer, which is the field school director. And it is an SFU faculty member-led program. So when we're looking at it, it is a whole combination of what you talked about just now. It could be a study tour. It could give you the different perspective of cultural experience. So if we look more into it, then we'll be, wow, the benefits of field schools that many of you touched upon, networking abroad and create connections with professors, with industrial professionals, and with your SFU peers, because you will be traveling together and doing the projects together. And also develop connections for your future travel and study abroad opportunities as well. Then you will learn through experience. So experiential learning I think that many of you also touched upon that point as well. And you will gain international perspective and new lens to see your own studies. It gives you global experiential learning formats and works in a team with professionals, right? And engage in the simulations, for example, like a NATO program, and also develop your global competencies. And this is something that a lot of the employers are looking at as well. So develop a creative problem solving skills, intercultural communication skills. It will be great to show on your resume that you've been abroad and working on so and so field schools and through the projects out there. And also, that opens up more opportunities for you for the future, for educational or for professional, for you in the future. So, depending on the eligibility, you can also participate in another field school in the future, or exchange, or doing some other short-term summer program with SFU in the future. So more opportunities actually equal more possibilities for yourself in the future. And looking at possibilities here for summer 2025, so far we have 4 field schools. Someone will ask, oh no, I only can see 3 right now. Right, by the end of this week, and you will see Vanuatu. Because the program was just freshly approved today. Yahoo! If anyone is here for Vanuatu, and this is a great program for students in psychology. So we have so far on our website, you will see NATO, Scotland, and Finland, and we'll be soon seeing Vanuatu. And we have more programs coming, so do check. For example, Berlin program, and also a Tanzania field school, right? So these will be coming as soon as they are approved. So these Berlin and Tanzania program, and they are pending approval right now. Considerations. This is something that we want you to consider before you actually sign up for the program. So we will look at first is the safety, right? So international travel and living abroad can be complex and really unpredictable. And then due to the world events, natural disasters, pandemics, and more out there. So there are a few important considerations that we want you to stay, be aware of, and also prepare while you're planning your field school trip. And all the SFU study abroad programs must comply with SFU's interim university-related international travel policy. And this policy is directly informed by Global Affairs Canada, who issues the country's travel advisories, as you can see the 4 levels here. And there are, by the color out there, let's call them by shape in the presentation right now. And SFU does not permit university-related students travel when the advisory for location is in the minus sign, the orange minus sign, or the cross sign, the red cross sign. Currently, our program locations fall under the first 2 levels. So it's a green check mark and also the yellow exclamation sign. So they're good to travel. They're good to continue. That is the meaning of it. And then beyond the advisory and the compliance to SFU's policy, all programs and transit locations must also be appropriate for hosting a field school. So this means that travel to and entry to the locations must be possible. And also that our program partners and providers are able to support the program as well. So these also we need to consider whether the program is going. Right, so especially after the pandemic, we are more cautious of those, and we stay alert and knowing how to work with a different situation and then work with students as well. And you will be, as a student, be responsible for researching and making corresponding arrangements for your field school program. When considering doing a field school, please think about factors like international travel restrictions and border entry requirements, in immigration documents, insurance, any flight paths that you can do, vaccines, public health protocols if that exist in the local places there. So they continue to change frequently without notice, including those who would apply when you return to Canada or to your home country. So please do your research. And all programs have contingency plans that would be invoked in the event that they are no longer being able to run abroad as planned. So any changes in program delivery would be communicated to you if that happens. So safety, as I said, it's the paramount. It comes first. And here are a few supports that would be in place for your program. And you can see more details on our website and through also on our SRS safety, travel safety website through the QR codes here. So all field school participants are required to complete the Field Schools 101 pre-departure program. This is something that's mandatory. It is self-paced program. And then it gives you topics such as personal safety, risk assessment, travel preparation, travel health, health insurance, emergency supports, and more information to prepare you to know what you need to know when you're abroad through an academic program at SFU here. And also, all field school participants will be enrolled into our SFU's travel safety program before your departure. So these includes the enrollment in SFU's travel registry through International SOS. So this is a resource that provides SFU travelers with 24/7 medical, security, logistical expertise before, during, and after your program. So if you have questions before you leave, when you are planning, you can give them a call, you can contact them for details and for supports. And you can also contact them for any health, travel safety, security, local situation, any concerns, personal safety concerns, for routine advice, emotional support, emergency assistance, for example. And there are a lot more out there when you are going through the Field Schools 101 course as well. The next travel safety program that you will be enrolled in, it is if you are a Canadian citizen, and you will be enrolled into the registration of Canadians abroad for the duration of the field school program. It allows the Canadian government to notify you in case of an emergency at your destination or a personal emergency at home. And this service also enables you to receive important information before or during a natural disaster or a civil unrest. So besides the Safety Abroad webpage, ISS is also another resource here for you to provide you the administrative support. So do check out our website to learn more and reach out to us when you need to. Besides the Safety Abroad webpage and us here, another one is what I've mentioned, Safety and Risk Services. And it is a great support to you by encouraging sound, healthy, safety, security measures that minimize risk to travel. So check out SRS website and then contact them for more information or support your risk planning when you need to. So this is also important for you to know the risk that would involve when you're traveling abroad, and maybe your partners or your parents or families will have questions that you can also contact SRS for a risk assessment and do their, they will provide you the guidelines and how to guide you through to do the research on the International SOS website. So while applying, just be sure that you read all the program information on the program page very carefully, line by line. And then this fully outline the terms of your program. And also we encourage you to speak with your academic advisor about how you can work towards the degree, right? And use these field schools and satisfy your needs in academic progress out there. And also make a budget plan for your field school, which should include for the contingency needs. For example, you will need a taxi to get to the ER, hope not, but then you will need to have the funds ready, right? To call, make international phone calls, etc., etc. So these, we can talk about it in the next session with Colin later on when he talks about costs. And you should also start researching all aspects of your program locations. And these would include travel restrictions, entry requirements, any public health protocols out there. And while these things may change between now and your program actually leaves, it is good to monitor what is going on. And it is particularly the case if you are not a Canadian citizen and may have different travel and entry considerations. And Global Affairs Canada is a great resource for this research. And also, you can start looking into your medical and travel insurance and health insurance coverage, and also assessing your own needs. And you need to read the really fine print to know exactly what is or isn't covered during the time abroad. And you will be also responsible to research and make corresponding arrangements for your field school program. If you have any questions, as I mentioned just now, and you're welcome to contact us by emailing fieldschools@sfu.ca, and we can point you at the right direction. All right. And then next, I will pass it on to Colin to go over the application procedure. Colin?
Yeah, so this is how you actually go about applying. So if we can get the next slide. So just a note, the application is entirely online. That didn't used to be the case. You guys have it really lucky. It's a lot more straightforward now. And there is also no application fee, except maybe if you have to pay for a transcript, but there's no application fee for our system. So if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see this is so in the application's entirely done in our study abroad system, also called Horizons. So as is kind of customary, you'll need to create an account to create an application. And I'll just say apologies. I know it's a bit of an older system. It's not as super intuitive, but it's not too bad. But it does work better if you're using a computer rather than a mobile device. It's not the most optimized for mobile. But once you've created an account under the register now, making sure that you are using the student login because you're not a manager, you'll get a dialog box that just asks you, are you a student at SFU or a field school student? Just click yes, fill out your information. Preferably if you can use your institutional email to sign up for this account. Otherwise, the way that you actually go about finding our programs is that there's two ways. So in the Horizon system, in the top bar, there's a search programs option. And then you can kind of see a little bit down on the page, there's the type of program you can filter by field school. The easier way is you go to our field schools programs page, and it links you directly to each of them. That's what the QR code there in the bottom right is. And on each of the program pages, you can click apply. There's a button down at the bottom of each page. All right, next slide. So once you've started an application system, this is what it looks like. On your left-hand bar, it gives you a progress tracker, so shows you all the sections that need to be completed and what you've done. I'll be going over these in more detail in a bit, but you can navigate your way through these. And just a note, make sure that you save as you go, and all parts of a section must be completed prior to saving it. And I'm not necessarily encouraging you to do this, but if you're halfway through something and you need to step away, you can upload a placeholder document and save that way. But ideally, just have your documents prepared in advance and then upload it when you have it all ready. Right. And just a note for the next slide, please. The way that you return to an existing application is, so if you click apply on a program page again, it will actually create a brand new blank application. And we don't have a system way of merging things together. So please try to avoid creating a duplicate application. It will give you a warning that says, hey, you have an application in process. So the way to get back to that is in that top hand bar. You click on My Application. It will show you everything you have in process. You can click on Full Application and return to what you've already got in process. And yeah, so getting into a bit more of the nitty gritty. The first step is for requesting a reference. So the program page, each of them will list the requirements, either whether you need an academic reference or a personal reference or both or neither. So it'll say that right in the top section. Your referee, they will get a online web form. So there's no need for a reference letter. It's just a pretty brief form, and it will ask them how long they've known you, in what capacity, the relevance that the program has to career, optionally, any weaknesses they'd like to note, or adaptability to new cultures, and then just an overall rating of how well they think you fit in as a candidate for the program. And when you're asking your referee to complete this, we just suggest, as with most references, include your academic transcript, resume, and just a bit of context of the program and why you were applying to it. Just helps jog their memory as to when they go to fill this out. And just one last thing is it's not the most intuitive, but to actually request the reference, you press the save button, not the add referee button as you might expect. If you click the add referee button, it will actually add the option to request a second one. So it's save. Hopefully you can see that from the highlight, but yeah, you click save and it'll send them a link to a web form that they can then go and fill out. You'll get an email that says once they've completed it, or if they've declined it, but hopefully they won't because you have asked them to be a referee and they have agreed in advance. The other way to check if they've completed it, short of sending me an email, is if you go back to your application, on the left-hand bar, it will say either pending or submitted. Right. And to the next slide. So the second step in the application is the academic and the program documents. So these are your transcript and or legal documents. So for your transcript, SFU students, we'd like your advising transcript, not your unofficial transcript, not the co-op transcript, not the official transcript, but the advising transcript. You can get this online. And for visiting undergraduate students, we do want your most recent official transcript. A scan of it's okay. It does not need to be sent directly to us. Or if you have a digital one, even better. And if you have any other institutions that you've attended, just include them along there, merged into one file. And if you're a visiting graduate student for the NATO program, just your unofficial transcript is fine for the time being. And later down the line, after you're accepted, we would need the official one then. The next two documents here are the acknowledgement and the refund policies. These just need to be downloaded, read. You should take a read through it, signed and uploaded. And if you're under 19, your parent will need to sign. As for what these documents are, they outline your responsibilities, terms of participation, risks, any sort of information that you would want to know beforehand. And then the refund policy will outline the costs and what can be refunded and when. The short of that is nothing. You won't be responsible for anything if you don't confirm participation, accept the offer. But once you have accepted, then you would be responsible for the fees as you have committed to the program. But we do want you to understand these. If you have any questions, please email me, pardon, and happy to offer some clarifications. The other thing is the assumption risk and the informed child consent. Those ones I'll talk about more on the next slide because it's a screenshot. Um, and believe me, you guys have this one lucky. You used to have a hard copy. And again, this assumption of risk, June, could you go to the next slide, please? It outlines terms of participation. There's just a web form. You fill out some required information. And it needs to be signed by an adult witness, so somebody other than yourself who has seen you sign it. And it's pretty straightforward. Again, if you have questions, though, please do not hesitate to ask. We do want you to understand the documents and what you're signing off to. And at the end of this, you'll get a submission code in red that you just go back into your application and you add it, just a short little thing that confirms that you've done it. Right. And the last three steps are a little bit more straightforward in a way. You'll need to upload a resume. So just your standard 1-2 pager, same as you would use for a job application, and a scan of your passport's photo page. So your passport needs to be valid for the whole field school, as I hope is intuitive, and for the 6 months following that. That said, if your passport is currently expired or you don't have one yet, that's okay for the purposes of our application. We just need to know that you're aware that you will need it later down the line in order to travel. And just a note for NATO applicants, the passport must be from a NATO member country. Otherwise, we just need a lovely photo of yourself with clean background. You can smile or you can choose to not, but just a simple photo of yourself. We then also ask just confirmation that you'll have medical insurance for your trip. We don't need proof of this. We don't need the specific policy, but just be aware that you will need that for the trip. And then we'll ask for some emergency contacts, just at least one that we can reach in case there's an emergency, somebody that you'd like to know if something happens, which hopefully it won't. But it's just good to have as an option. Then the consent to disclose info is if you anticipate or if you would like somebody to be able to request information about your program, where you are, your documents, or whatever scope of information that we have on you. If you want them to have access, you can just indicate it within the system. For example, if you wanted them to be able to know where you are currently without reaching you directly. Otherwise, there's the two short statement of interest questions. Again, all of this is within the same system. So the first one is why you have applied. So if you have any experiences that you think are relevant to the program, goals, or anything that really has drawn you to the program, yeah, that's what we're asking for. Otherwise, the second question is how you prepare and adapt to new and challenging situations. So anything that you think might be relevant for the field school selection committee to know about you, you can enter it right in your answer. If you have travel experience, that's of course a great thing to indicate here as it is a travel-based program. That said, it's not a necessity, so don't count yourself out if you haven't traveled before. Otherwise, we ask for some referral information. So just asking how you heard about the program. And don't worry, this does not at all factor into your eligibility, whether you're going to be selected. So it won't count against you in any way. It's just good for us to know how word is making its way out about our programs. Then we also have within the system the Suite of Study Abroad Awards, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but it's a funding option available to current SFU students. And then for visiting students, so students who are not current SFU students but are interested in one of our programs that's accepting visiting students, we just have one additional application which is linked to within the main program application, but we ask that you complete the program application. So, for example, an application to NATO and then the visiting student application. They're pretty short. They just ask some demographic information, and this helps speed things up at the time of admission, should you be a part of the program. And for graduate students, we just collect documents that really just help facilitate admission, streamline things. So I'll stress this one that it is not the regular SFU admission process. So you won't be going through education planner. You won't be going through visiting research student as a graduate student. It's through the same study abroad system. Otherwise, just one another thing to stress is that you can, while you're applying, have some conversations with your home institution. For graduate students, especially, you'll want to discuss tuition arrangements. Um, and for all students, just make sure that you've gotten any sort of permissions needed to be able to take the course at SFU, because presumably you're wanting credit to transfer back to your program. So just trying to get all of the pieces sorted as you're applying, so that you have some certainty that the program will fit in with your studies. Otherwise, you'll be admitted to, if you are offered and confirmed to be part of the program, then you will be admitted for the one term and the course or courses of the program, and you will not be able to enroll in any other courses. Following the term, you'll be able to order an official SFU transcript to help in facilitating the awarding of transfer credit. And I will just note this Suite of Study Abroad Awards and SFU's funding of scholarships, awards, and bursaries. Visiting students are not eligible for these. However, there are other options which I'll chat about in the next section. All right. So onto costs, and something I want to highlight again is there's no fees due unless you get offered and choose to confirm your participation. So you're given ample time to decide, think about it, ask your questions about the refund policy, about the program, everything in advance. So it doesn't hurt to get your application in. All right, so I'll go into a little bit of specifics. I know there's a lot of text on the slide, and this information largely pertains to graduate students. The next slide, I'll go over a bit of the particularities, but for graduate students, you'll also want to pay attention to this section. So as mentioned, field schools are SFU courses, and tuition is charged based on the number of units. So you'd be multiplying the number of per tuition by the number of units, which most people know. So at SFU, units are the same as credits, but we use the term units. So you'd multiply 212 by the amount of units in the program. So domestic tuition is just over $200, or if you're an international student, it's about 1,000 to 1170 per unit, 1170, depending when you started. And then there's some university charge fees that I would love to be able to waive, but at the very least, we get a reduced rate on these. So it's $52 services fee and $86 activity fee. And as a note, if you're taking additional SFU courses outside of the program, including an online course, you would be charged the full-time rate of these, which is approximately double, and a few other fees, including the UPass, recreational, and athletics fees. Then there's just a $300 admin fee or for SFU students or $400 for visiting students. And then the program fee. So this is what covers the cost of the infield. And these are cost recovery programs. So SFU is not making profit on these. In fact, any fees that go into the program, that is what the program has. If the program has a surplus, it will be dispersed amongst all participants equally as a refund following the program. So that program fee covers your shared accommodation with other participants, any program activities, field trips, and transport for the most part. It'll cover some meals or most meals depending on the program. And all programs will have preparation support, support in the field, and support for returning back. And the other costs to consider, just we do want to include these for transparency beyond the program fee. And as a note, it's of course not a comprehensive list, but some of the bigger items to consider are the international flight to from the destination is not included. If there's travel within the program, that is, but getting to the initial destination and from is a separate cost. If you need any travel documents, such as a visa, cell phone plan, of course, you need to eat. So meals, and if you need any sort of vaccinations or additional insurance, just things to be aware of. Yeah, go on to the next slide. So as I mentioned, that information largely also applies to graduate students, but the difference here is in the tuition. So if you're a graduate student, this is your home department at SFU, then you would pay the regular per term fee. And then if you are not an SFU graduate student, or if you're an SFU graduate student and it's not your home program, then you would be paying a per unit fee. And I'll stress here to please discuss tuition arrangements with your home department, as it's possible they may charge your regular tuition in addition to the per unit. That said, I know there have been cases where the department will waive it and allow you to just pay for the tuition for the course, but please do have those conversations. And if you're coming through Western's Dean's Agreement, you would be paying tuition to your home university as usual rate. And then otherwise, the SFU fees, it's actually about half the activity fee, and the rest of the fees would be the same as undergraduate students. Yeah. So I know I just threw a lot of costs at you and things that you would have to pay for. So I'll go into some ways to help fund the trip. So I'll start by highlighting the Suite of Study Abroad Awards. So these are for SFU, current SFU degree seeking students, unfortunately not for visiting students, and in full-time field schools. These are specific to study abroad programs, and they're worth $1,000 to $2,000, and it's right in your program application. And the neat thing with these, it's not based at all on your grades, but rather the experiences you have and your understanding of study abroad's benefits and answers to a few questions. And these funds we anticipate being released around April to May, so before you would be traveling. Right. Otherwise, there's a few other options to highlight. June, if you could go to the next slide. We do encourage you to apply, of course, to everything that you are eligible. The worst you lose is time. The best you get is a couple $1,000s. So it's really worth applying to as much as you're eligible for. So I've put two QR codes there with some lists of financial aid options. But in general, students are eligible for student loans, though this might vary based on citizenship. But you can always chat through any of this with financial aid and awards at SFU or the equivalent at your home institution. SFU students remain eligible for needs-based bursaries or awards and scholarships should you meet the credit requirement for these. Otherwise, graduate students, you can connect with the Graduate Studies Office, and all students, as I just mentioned, you can connect with financial aid and awards to kind of chat through these options. They can help with creating a budget, and they have a lot of different ways to connect, either drop in, phone, Zoom, in person, you name it. You can also set an appointment, so they're very accessible to help. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll pass it back to June to go over a few next steps.
Thank you, Colin. Before we move on, and we do receive one question about the transcript, and there are students is asking if the transcript is in French and would it need to be translated into English?
So for French transcripts, as we are an institution in Canada, we can accept French transcripts that are in French.
Thank you, Colin. Right, next steps. So let's see. Pay attention to the application deadlines here for NATO, Field School, all the students. You need to keep this in mind. December 10th coming up very soon. And this is the deadline for you to submit your application with all that Colin just covered, the details. Thank you so much, Colin. And for other programs, and also including the programs coming up soon, all the deadlines for them is January 29th, end of January. So it is by 11:59 p.m. of the date indicated here. You will need to submit the application, and no late application will be considered. So just a very quick reminders before we finishing up today's presentation. Visit our program page. It provides you all the details that you are looking for, and then it's a great start point for you to do your research. And also you will find the field school director's information out there for you to contact. Follow us and on Instagram. So we are at SFU Global, and that's us. And also connect with your academic advisors, either here at SFU or at your home institution, to learn more about the room that for yourself to sign up with these field school program. And prepare and complete your application. If you have any questions, do contact us. And get yourself ready for an incredible experience